Oh, exciting news from the Galapagos Islands. An extinct tortoise has been rediscovered after 113 years. Animal Planet funded the discovery, and you will see it unfold this summer on Animal Planet. Biologist and host of the Animal Planet series, Forrest Galante, joins us now to tell us more. Good morning. This is exciting stuff.
Thank you, Carly. Yes, it is absolutely huge news and very exciting.
So break this down. When did you first get word that this possibly could be, this tortoise could have been rediscovered? How did you guys get word of this and then go down there?
I search for animals that I believe have been wrongfully deemed extinct. It's a speciality. It's highly targeted. So we have had for several years now plans in place to go to Fernandina and search for this animal. There was certainly no getting wind of it. The last, known recording of one was 113 years ago, so it wasn't exactly pressing. However, for years now, we've been, securing the permits, putting into place the planning, doing the research, and it all came together. And then just last week, we, of course, found Fern, the world's only Fernandina Island tortoise, the rarest animal in the world, and a huge accomplishment, rewriting natural history as we know it.
Oh, look, I can see how excited you are there discovering him. So my first question is, well, can you breed them at this point? I mean, what do you do now?
So it helps for this reason, Carly. Fern, she's a female. She's the only one in existence. She was living in an extremely remote, isolated patch of habitat within this volcano. So she has actually been safely pardon me. She's actually been safely moved to the Fausto Lorena Breeding Center in Santa Cruz, Galapagos, which is the same place that housed the famous Lonesome George. There, I get updates on her daily. She's drinking water, she's eating, she's super happy. In fact, it's been so long since she's seen water that she's just sitting in it, loving it. And there's two things that are going to happen. One is bringing her in secures funding for a return effort to try and search for and locate a male. And then secondly, as a tortoise, she can actually retain viable sperm within her for a number of years after mating. And because she's been under such environmental stress and pressure, she's underweight, she's a little bit skinny. So once she fattens up and gets healthy and happy, she might actually be able to produce viable eggs, fertile eggs, and offspring without having to be mated again. So the opportunity is huge for saving the species.
Wow. Okay, so one question, how old do we think she is? And then number two, what is the probability that a male does exist? What do you think?
So to answer question one, myself and a number of other tortoise experts collectively have analyzed her, and we're guessing she's somewhere in the ballpark of 100 to 110 years old. And as far as does a male exist, after we found Fern, we spent 2 more days surveying the island, and we did find signs of another animal. We found tracks and we found scat in a different isolated pocket of habitat. So I think, although there's probably only a very few handful of these creatures, they're spread out over the island in very isolated pockets, completely stuck. And as long as there happens to be one male somewhere on the island, completely isolated, and he can be found now that the efforts are in place to locate him, then the species will indeed come back.
Wow. What do you hope people get when they watch this and kind of see this unfold? And again, I love seeing your excitement there, pretty obvious there. But what do you hope people kind of gather and families gather as they go on this journey with you?
Well, you just said it. Hope is the big message, right? Once an animal is considered extinct, it's given up on, it's written off, it's forgotten about. And when you can bring something back from extinction, when you can rewrite natural history and say, hey, look, it's not gone, with a little bit of help and a little bit of care and a little bit of passion, you can actually bring these animals back and, right the wrongs of them being gone forever. That's the important message here. It's the hope. It's the hope that animals are still hanging on. They're still out there, just like Fern, living in a tiny pocket of habitat, completely isolated, hanging on by a thread, and then finding them, bringing them back, giving them a little bit of help, and saving the species. I mean, I think that is the most important thing.
All right, we're out of time. Do you have one animal, by the way, that you were just really hoping is still out there, though, that you're kind of, maybe your bucket list animal of like, hey, I want to bring this extinct one back?
Many. There's not one. I really can't narrow it down.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. Again, I'm kind of bummed we have to wait till the summer for this. This seems like exciting stuff, so I'm glad you could share a little bit of the details with us, though, this morning to hold us over.
Thanks, Carly.